I'm glad too, Francis shouted back over his shoulder as he climbed down the hill, walking back toward his combine. This morning, there was a shout from way out in the field. And it turns out it was Francis. I don't know if he's my age, but he's not a kid. What a nice conversation, oh my gosh. 20 minutes, 30 minutes on the side of the road. He was harvesting his cornfield. I'm very religious, he said. Certainly seeing my attire and the markings on the vehicle and making some understandable assumptions. Religion is a nightmare. Organized religion is a nightmare, I said in reply. He mentioned, I mean, he was just a wonderful soul. Very humane from what I can tell. It's wonderful the things he told me about farming I had no idea of. The dust in the atmosphere, these windy days at night or in the evening, has concerned me. Are you losing a lot of topsoil? I asked. Yes, it was such a wet spring. It's not so much the wind, it is the erosion of the rains. Huge, apparently, this year. I hope you're not yet getting totally killed by the corporations. I said, he instantly responded in recognition of what I was saying. On the topic of erosion, he pointed out a creek that we're standing by, relatively dry right now, and the grasses around it rather than crop. He said, the government pays me to do that, and he said that respectfully, so that the runoff doesn't wind, as much of the runoff doesn't wind up in the Mississippi River. I think he said Mississippi. Certainly something I didn't know. He talked about how it's also, I think he said, a requirement of that by the government that the grasses be burned off periodically. He didn't explain why. I told him that I felt that I had seen more cornfields with the yellowing corn still standing than I had seen harvested cornfields, and it concerned me. He said only sweet corn, which he clarified is the stuff that you would see in the grocery store to buy, is what you want to harvest when it's green. And he explained it's because the moisture content is close to 50%. And he explained that the corn is, I don't know if he said less valuable, maybe it's a time of year thing. Anyway, much of the year, much of the time, they subtract the moisture weight down to an estimated 15 or so percent moisture to calculate the amount that they pay the farmers, because most of the corn is being ground up into feed and or for ethanol. He explained to me, and he seemed like an honest, well-informed man, admitting some biases. He said that he indicated some room for uncertainty on his part, but he said much of the corn goes through the alcohol process, ethanol, I presume, but the corn is thereby eliminated as feed. I think he was specific on that. He did not allow that it's not eliminated to go into human products. I think it probably is, but it's not eliminated for going into feed, which I didn't know. So he said he thinks it is a more productive system by far that ethanol is in the process. But in any case, the corn that I've been concerned about, standing in the fields yellowing, does not indicate a bad crop. It's a matter of when it should be harvested. And ideally, like soybeans, are harvested when much of the standing water content has gone away. Several times as our conversation was drawing to a close, I easily expressed how delighted I was he had called out and we had this conversation. As we said our goodbyes, it was probably 15 or 30 seconds as he was heading out into the field that the thought occurred to him to turn and say, "I'm glad too." He had seen the vehicle at the truck stop last night. And this morning when he saw it, something told him he really wanted us to speak. Rarely do I meet what I would term or guess is a kindred spirit. But in Francis, I met what I suspect is a kindred spirit. No offense to Francis.